No doubt the country is in a state of topsy-turvy. If we go by some of the recent happenings across the country over the Naira swap or the Naira redesign policy initiated by the federal government through the Central Bank of Nigeria. We've seen reactions and counter-reactions trailing that policy. Earlier this week, we saw massive protests in Benin City with several banks destroyed. Yesterday, the same incident happened in Lagos. Mr. President has made a broadcast allaying the fears of Nigerians with a promise that within the shortest possible time, all of these will be a thing of the past. How that will materialize, it's a matter of time. Questions have also arisen as relates to the Supreme Court judgment, which of course restrained the government from going ahead with the policy, saying that, look, they can continue to use the old Naira notes. But just before that will settle, we have the broadcast of Mr. President directing the CBN to ensure that the 200 Naira notes is still in use from now till for the next 3 months, 60 days. And yesterday, news were flying around left, right, back, and center that the Central Bank of Nigeria is now willing to accept 500 Naira and 1,000 Naira old notes. The CBN gave a press release denying that statement. On the flip side, is a huge concern that while in several parts of the southern part of this country, the use of 500 Naira and 1,000 Naira as a legal tender has since stopped. But in the north, there are allegations that the two currencies are still very much in use. All of these will form part of our discussions today on Politics Today on independent television and radio as we x-ray the state of the nation and the 2023 elections. Another undercurrent is the allegations by some that there are clandestine moves to scuttle the 2023 election. I'm hearing someone saying, God forbid. Anyways, these are all part of what we'll be x-raying in the next couple of minutes. As usual, our studio lines will be open so you can call and join the conversation. We'll take a short break and then we'll be back to get on course and get the program on a full throttle. Welcome on board Politics Today on independent television and radio. I'm Sonny Duke Okosun. All right, thanks again for staying with us on the program Politics Today on independent television and radio. We're being joined by our panelists from Abuja and Lagos, and we also have our panelists here with us in the studio. Let me begin with our studio here in Benin. I'd like to thank Chief Tony Alile Ogiva. Chief, I didn't know that has been added to this. All right, thank you. Congratulations. Is a member of the Atiku Professionals for Atiku Campaign 2023. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We also have with us in the studio a very versatile and erudite man of God, Bishop Austin Igbasan, who always endeavor to speak to the issues anytime, any day. Bishop, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. Good morning, listeners.
And joining us all the way from Abuja, let me thank very specially Ogbede Ifaluyi Isibo is a member of the Labour Party National Campaign Council. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me.
We also have with us already, you can see him on the screen, Barrister Yusufu Abubakar, who is the spokesperson of Rabi Musa Kwankwaso Campaign Organization, talking about the NNPC. Barrister, thank you for joining us on the program. He's also the leader of League of Patriotic Lawyers. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here again.
Okay, we have with us as well from the APC, member of the APC Edo South Campaign Council, not being able to join us via Zoom due to technical issues, Comrade Collins Amadi Osaga. Comrade, thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Sonny Duke. Good morning, our listeners out there. God bless you.
Okay, let's get the conversation on, gentlemen. Today in the country, there is tension everywhere. And that tension is not unconnected with the Naira swap deal. Some are saying, well, the issue at stake is more or less like a case of an intra-party squabble that has, manifested, affecting the average Nigerian. The question is, what is the implications of this for the 2023 election? Analysts are saying this will help to avoid vote buying. This will help to avoid some individuals who have stockpiled funds to scuttle the electoral process. How true this is. But we're saying that even before the election, Nigerians are suffering. And that's certainly something many people are not comfortable with. A few days ago, there was a massive protest in Benin where banks were attacked. We understood that about 3 people allegedly lost their lives. We saw one on a video, about 2 of them on a video online. Quite disheartening. So let's get started from our panelists here in the studio. Bishop, share with us your thoughts on the implication of all of these for the 2023 elections.
I think the policy of CBN is a very fantastic policy. And by the act that established CBN, they have right to take this type of decision. But what we are concerned about is that the timing and the implementation of this policy. Because when you are going to do something like this is not the first time they are redesigning money. This one is not really redesigning, but it is coloring. Just the coloring of the money. You're repainting the money. And I think that one is more easier than when you redesigned money. Because when you redesign, you go back and change the entire template. But when you are coloring, it's just color separation. Okay. So that's what we're having. So we are not talking of the amount that was used to print. And we could see that the fire brigade approach of the CBN at this moment, I remember there was a time that the CBN governor was out of the country, and the deputy CBN governor was invited to talk to the House of Rep. And they were asking in the face of the whole world, how much money have you people printed? The woman said, I don't want to be wrong with my figure. I will get back to you. Get back to who? You are invited for such important discussion that are you not prepared to answer? You know why you are invited. We knew the back and front with the CBN governor. He was on treatment somewhere outside the country, and we expected those who came there to be able to give us figure. Because when you remove figure from central bank, for God's sake, what is remaining? Okay. Well, we don't get figure. So the issue is that I think that apart from, don't forget that APC is also a marriage of about 4 or 5 women that came together to form one house. So definitely what is happening within the house is also part of what we are seeing, the implication of the policy.
Okay, let me pause you there, Bishop. I'll come back to you in a moment. Let me take you to Abuja, where Comrade Ifalu Isibo, Engineer Ifalu Isibo, a member of the Labour Party Campaign Council, is standing by. Ifalu Isibo, share your thought with us. How this policy initiated by the Central Bank of Nigeria has the full blessings of Mr. President, has the full support of Mr. President. Is this a policy well thought out?
Well, thank you. Thank you again for having me, and it's a privilege and an honor to share my thoughts with you and with Nigerians here at home and in the diaspora. In the last few days or the last few weeks, the country has been inundated with the new CBN policy as instituted or as directed by Mr. President. And like the CBN Act supposes that the CBN has a right, to redesign the currency. I mean, the CBN is in charge without part of our country's policy. And so my view and to the view of majority of Nigerians, we are at home with the CBN's cashless policy, with the CBN's redesign policy, with the CBN's plan to reduce the amount of cash outside of the banking system in the country. And as directed by the president, we have seen that many Nigerians have expressed some frustration, not with the policy, not with the vision or the idea of the policy, but with the fact that we are not having as much cash available as we were used to. But that's the whole plan. The whole purpose was to reduce the amount of cash outside the banking cycle, outside the banking system in the country. And if the CBN has said, for a nation of about 220 million people, we had almost 3 trillion naira in circulation out of the banking control, out of the eyes of the banking system. That was not helpful for our economy. That was helping the reduction in the value of the naira. That was increasing inflation, and that was increasing the propensity for which fraudsters or terrorists could, manipulate people to bring money to them. And they said, okay, for several factors, let us take out the excess cash in the system, reintroduce a new naira note, and reduce the amount of cash circulation in the system. That is in line with global practice. Every developed or developing nation has adopted that model of making the people do more electronic transactions as against carrying of cash. It makes it easy, and it prevents armed robbery. For example, a shop owner who has a grocery store. We have had cases several times of armed robbers getting into the store, catching away with the money. But if it is that store has 3 to 4 POS machines, and customers, 60% or 70% of them are having to do electronic transactions, we have limited the propensity for thieves to steal our monies. People get kidnapped. Kidnapping has become the order of the day in Nigeria, where families are burdened with ransom of 10, 20, 30 million in cash to give to kidnappers in ransom for their loved ones. With this new policy, that has the capacity of reducing that, because now there's no cash available, excess cash in the system, and so even the terrorists or the kidnappers or the bandits understand this pattern. This will reduce terrorism.
So for you, Obedi Falu, you see, but this is a good policy.
Yes, this is a very good policy. However, the appeal is for the CBN, in line with the President's directive, to make more of these new notes available, and also the old 200 naira notes to reduce the sufferings of the masses. This is centered about the people. And if, for example, the President, in his own view, thinks that the unavailability of cash in circulation will reduce the capacity for thieves to buy votes and manipulate the electoral process in the 2023 election, if the President holds that view, the President receives intelligence to suggest that there are some people who are stashing away monies in billions at home to buy the votes. So if he feels preventing them from doing that would enable us to have a fair electoral process, I think all Nigerians, irrespective of political party, should applaud the President, should thank the CBN, and should be willing to go through this temporary difficulty.
Okay, let me consider. But I'll come to you. I'll come to you in a moment. Barrister Yusuf Abubakar, let's get your take on the implications of all of these for the election, because we can see the reactions trailing this policy, and questions are even being asked about why should Mr. President order CBN to do otherwise when the Supreme Court has already given a judgment.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I've listened attentively to the other speakers, and I tend to agree with them. The only place where they are put mute or did not explain explicitly is the function of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court, for all is what is the highest court in Nigeria. And when there's any policy that is contrary to the judgment of the Supreme Court, that policy becomes void. And the Supreme Court decision should prevail to the extent of its inconsistency. What Mr. President has just done is to overrule, to sit on appeal over the Supreme Court, which in itself is an abuse of legal process and all that. No doubt about it, the system is good, the system is be transparent, and it will go a long way to check those people that have been household, that have been warehousing funds at home to influence the election. But we are just saying that the timing is a bit inexpedient. You know that at the New Nigeria People's Party, the people is our theme. That's why my boss, Dr. Rabi Musa Kwakwaso, is always fond of saying, Salus populi suprema lex. The welfare of the people should be the supreme law of the land. So you cannot say because the policy you want to carry out a policy that the people should be extinguished. I saw with righteous indignation, the people that were killed in the Benin Central Bank premises. And I call on the authorities to fish out those policemen and indeed bring them to book. But there are ways you can even disperse a mob before resorting to outright killing. At the NNPP, we are not against this policy, but any policy that tends to kill, extinguish the rights of that of the poor in that society, we normally frown at it. My leader, Rabbi Musa Kwankwaso, has been so paid, not in the sense that there is a limitation in the cash or whatever, because we don't even have cash. You discover that among the big four, we are the poorest. My interest is to note that it's only NNP that does not have a private jet in campaigning. In fact, he's crisscrossing the entire country with his vehicle. I once cornered him and said, Master, why not ask your friends who haven't been governor for 2 years, Minister of Defense and Special Envoy to Somalia and Darfur? You have connection. Why not ask your friends to bring it? He said, no, Pastor Bakar Isufu, I don't want to do this. I want to see the people and meet the people. You see that when the Rabbi Musa Kwankwaso goes to an estate, he doesn't necessarily see the government. He goes straight to the people.
Okay.
He said he wants to see some of the roads.
Let me pause you there. I will bring you on shortly. But let me get Comrade Collins Amadi Osarai, who is on this panel of discussants representing the APC. Talk to us about the challenges with the Naira swap. We are seeing a discordant tunes coming from the ruling party on the part of the federal government, and then on the part of the state governors. We have an alliance of the governor of Kaduna, Kogi, and Kano State, who apparently went to the Supreme Court to challenge this, and they're criticizing this policy. These governors they come out hard on Mr. President as far as this policy is concerned. You want to say something different about this?
Yes, thank you very much. Sometimes I feel very disappointed when you assume educated, behave uneducated. I think in the recent time, that is what we are seeing with Nigerians and some of them, because they take everything to be political. When the interest of the people cannot come first in the heart of those who claim to wanting to lead us, that means we are living in circumstances. People are just there to use people to trade, sack them, and fool them. That is what you are seeing with what is going on with some persons who ordinarily are wanting to rule us as head of state. Nigerians are queuing on ATM, partying themselves. People are dying. Policies are untimely. How many policies have the Emefiele-led economic team propagated for this country that have worked since he came, when Jonathan imported him from wherever he brought him from? Nothing. How have our economy been running? Who is in charge of our economy? CBN and their team. The fuel shortages, through which do they import fuel into Nigeria for the consumption of Nigerians? For through which is the subsidy being given? Through the Central Bank of Nigeria. We had a point where a whole sitting Central Bank governor was wanting to be president of a country. This is the person who hardly, ordinarily should be saying. He became an handbag, following one big politician to another. This ordinarily we expected Nigerian before now to have spoken out. But when one speaks, people see it's political. It is not a crime to be rich. It is not a crime. The former American President Donald Trump was among the 10 richest Americans. That did not stop him from contesting an election. American government or those in authority did not choose to bring policies just because they feel he was rich. While Joe Biden and others were sourcing for funds, he was using his money because he felt he didn't want to bother the ordinary person. What he already have in stock, what he had worked tirelessly for, can assist him in running an election. So did they stop the system from running? No. Now Emefiele has brought about hardship to Nigerians. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for example, and most of those sitting governors We never go to queue for fuel, whether you like it or not. Any money they want, they have people who bring it to their doorstep. They were just looking for the ordinary Nigerians. Yet we also have governors, like Edo, for example, and Bayelsa, who went to the court to say they want to join in a suit, saying that CBN for making the people go through this hardship was good. Is it supposed to be like that? No. Now, how can a government also bring out a policy targeting a minority, not considering the interest of majority? Is that not an occultic administrative attitude? That it is. So for me, we have it already.
Okay.
Everyone is done.
Okay.
For example, for almost 2 weeks, I have not opened my restaurant because I run a day take-in, a day take-out. I cannot cook 2 bags or 1 bag or half bag or 2 rubber of rice, and I myself will be eating it. I need someone to buy it. So who is suffering? Myself and my immediate family. We are going through a lot right now. Do you know what it is not to open a business where you start from, where you assist your members of your family from for 2 weeks is a problem.
Okay, Collins, I will pause you there.
Even if you want to go the other way, for those who are clapping, I had my friend who lives in London. He followed Tibo. He appreciated it because some persons say they are poor. Because they are poor, they cannot pay money for logistics to running an election, which is normal in an election. Either you have raised enough funds, and the funny thing is that those who have been begging around this country, begging for money to run for election, people have donated to them. They now want to hide under that disguise to steal the donation people give to them. To say they could not access the bank to bring them money for logistics. I tell them, please volunteer. It is a movement.
Okay. Collins, let me pause you. I will come back to you in a moment. Thank you so very much.
I will not just break this place.
No, let me pause you. Let me pause you.
I'm almost through. You know, I have been calling and I'm using the chance card.
No, don't worry, Collins. Don't worry, Collins. I'll come back to you.
Let me just manage it. Now, what I'm trying to say is, we see the campaign the way it's been going. For example,
yes,
the crowd and the supporters, all of them have been having. Now, you will bet with me that this money stocking by CBN and his team have been on for almost 2 weeks now. Yes, there is a particular candidate who, when he comes out, the mammoth crowd you see with him is hundreds of thousands, almost running to millions. Are you telling me he's still using money to pack those people out? Why are the other candidates not packing people out? That which is already majority is already majority. So let CBN put his head together and take Nigeria out of this quagmire they have placed us.
Okay.
Because Nigeria will continue to resist every anti-politics of the people.
Okay. All right, Collins, thank you so much. I'll come back to you in a moment. Let me get to Chief Tony Alile Ogieva. Yeah, from some of the feedbacks we're getting, whatever has happened with the CBN and this Naira policy, the PDP cannot exonerate itself from it because Mifele came into office during the PDP era. I'd like to get your take along those lines.
Well, thank you very much, Sonidu. I'm just cracking up here in the studio because it beats my imagination how APC can be accusing APC of wrongdoing in an election week. However, I want to align with Ifaluyi Isibo on his submission when he spoke earlier. He said this is a very brilliant policy by the CBN. It happens all over the world. As a matter of fact, redesigning of currency ought to be taking place between 7 and 10 years in the same line. So I don't think anything unusual has happened. You see, those that are crying wolf, they should come all out and tell the country and the world why they are so concerned and why they cry more than the really disadvantaged people. I mean, I empathize with everybody in this country as of now because of this scarcity of funds. But I want to ask a question, and this question is directed to Erufai, Governor Erufai, and his co-governors who went to court to challenge the policy of the CBN. Where have you people been all this while when all these things are happening in the country? The Abuja-Kaduna train victims spent months in captivity. I did not hear El-Rufai, who is the governor of the state that the train was heading to. The what do you call it? The minimum wage issue lingered for a very long time in this country. I didn't hear any of them come out to cry. The strike that lingered for over 8 months in Nigeria, none of these governors came out to cry about it. So I want them to tell the country, I want them to tell Nigerians, why is it so deep in them? Why are they taking it so personal if they don't have some certain sinister move? Election is all about reaching out to the electorate. It is not how rich or how deep your pocket is, like Collins Amadi was trying to explain, calling a whole political party and the presidential candidate a poor man. I don't know, what perimeter they use to assess who is rich or poor. If you have opportunity to be supporting a candidate that amounts his wealth through means that the whole country is still asking him to tell us how he got all that wealth, well, that is your own problem. But I want to say this very clearly. The policy of the CBN is good for this country. Good thanks to the president for even authorizing the CBN to allow the use of 200 naira to cushion the effect of this hardship. I think for the 8 years or 7 years, 8 years running that Mr. President has been on that seat, of all the things he has done wrong, I think this is the best policy that this president has come up with. And it's going to be a legacy that he can raise up his head high and said, I've done work for this country. Because if you look at the candidate that APC is putting out there, with all due respect to Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, in a sane society, such a man cannot be a president of a country. If not because of the money that they are hoping on to use to buy vote on the day of election. I bet you right now, just that I don't have the fiscal proof to put on the table.
So fine. So that means
El-Rufai has amassed so much money.
There's no proof for all of these that you're saying.
And the same thing with what is this man's name? The governor of Kogi.
All these names that you're mentioning, that there's no evidence to back it up that they've amassed so much wealth. It's just mere sayings.
Why are they crying? Why haven't they come out to cry over all the other?
But the masses, the bulk of the masses is suffering.
I said that already.
Yeah.
I'm also feeling the pinch.
Yes.
For the past 1 week, I probably have about 1,000 naira in my pocket. Okay. But I live well. A lot of people that runs to me to ask for money now knows the situation of the country. Okay. Just like Ifeanyi Yusimo said, I don't think it's going to be a good business anymore to these kidnappers to take in anybody. Okay. If you take me in now, I don't have the cash to give to you. I will only have to do a transfer. And if I do a transfer, the account that the money was transferred to will definitely going to be traced. So I think the president has done well, and I give a very good kudos to Emefiele. But to answer the question you started with, why do everybody look for PDP to blame for everything? Emefiele has been the CBN governor now for about 8 years. I think he did about 6 months or a year after Sanusi left. He's been there all this while, and he has been doing fantastically well. Why are they looking for a way now to blame anything that happens wrong with Emefiele on PDP, when he has actually served in APC's government from 2015 to date? I want to once again say, Mr. President, you've done very well.
All right, Bishop, quickly. What are the chances of the political parties and the presidential candidates in view of the situations that we are now in the country, in terms of the economy and all of that?
Definitely you expect people to vote by this policy of Mr. President at this timing. Me, I differ, because I've been able to analyze the president, that the president does not always do something that concerns him. He does something. When you remember when we were fighting for not too young to run, when the man signed it, he told the young people, say, don't contest against me. That means you can contest when I've gone. Now, when we run over the Electoral Act, it was 6 months for Mr. President to sign. Jonathan signed it 48 hours before he comes to power. They can't do that. But Mr. President declined because he never wanted it to hurt him. When Bukola Saraki brought the issue of change of date, where in governorship election we come first. You saw the way our president went all out. All of us knew what our own senator did from Niger Delta here to stop that thing, because they knew eventually that if governorship election is to be done first, that is not how Mr. President will be our president today. because he knew for sure that the loyalty of everybody will go to every state. When you do the go, all of us were here when they go haywire to make sure they stop that change of date. Now, the same man now, why did this man did not do this in 2019? Mr. Righteous that want to cleanse the nation, why did he not bring this issue of changing of money? Me, I'm talking as a Jesus teacher. I'm not a politician, and I will talk for the masses. We were in the queue a few days ago. A consultant was there. Everybody donated 4 liters for the woman. The woman got to the hospital. The person she was going to rescue had died. So is that person going to witness the new Nigeria Buhari wants to give to us? Or the people that died inside bank on queue? What I'm saying is that nobody said you should not print new money. Nobody said you cannot redesign money. After all, Jonathan did it. When Jonathan did it during his tenure, did anybody go haywire? We take the 100 naira. There was no noise anywhere. Why? What I'm talking about is that the mindset of Mr. President concerning this policy, I'm talking about the masses. I'm not talking about the politician. I was somewhere last week in Ekiti State. Almost all the politicians are there. They are spending the new money. So what are you talking about? You are talking about the masses? The masses that want to buy bitter cola and they cannot transfer. Why as a Mayfele don't put the technological order where people can be able to do transfer? Now you look at the statistic of people that have accounts. I'm talking for the masses. There is none of them, all those who are contesting presidential election today, that can come out and call themselves holy saints. There is no one of them that can come out today and defend. Is it the PDP that will defend? Is it the Peter Obi? Is it the Kwakwasho that will tell us how they got their money? They want to tell us and come out play and say, I'm St. Gideon, I'm St. George, and this is how I got my money. So nobody should pretend. I'm not here to talk of the candidate. I'm talking about the effect on the masses.
Okay, let me
any policy that has a nobody said CBN cannot redesign. Nobody said they cannot.
You're
now,
concerned about
you have gotten 2.7 trillion back from the old money.
Yes.
You printed 500 billion. Where do you do that on earth?
Okay, Bishop, let me
Where you remove figure from central bank? What is the assistance of the central bank? The governor of the central bank today,
yes.
What I expected is that in the days of Obaseki as GMD of NNPC, every day Dallas Obaseki came on board and announced how many liters goes to each police station, filling station, and announced the address of the station. They post it on EBS and all over. Everybody is able to track anybody that is hiding it. Have you asked yourself a question? Why Emefiele have not been able to say First Bank was given so billion?
Bishop,
we have default this to Access Bank. That's the accountability we are talking about. The man is not higher than the country. He should be able to give account to us. We are the masses.
Let's take it one at a time. Just hold on, Tony. Tony, hold on. Let's take it one at a time.
I've given this amount to this.
Let me get this guy involved here now.
There will be so much money in the circulation.
We're talking about the implications of this Naira swap deal and how it will affect the elections. What's your take on the chances of your party as far as this election is concerned?
Thank you very much. I will start by consoling and empathizing with the APC. I could see how Collins was vibrating in anger, not really anger, but in fear. In fear because the APC can obviously see defeat, ahead in the next few days, and so they are like clutching on straws and trying to cause commotion in the country. They are trying to label the president as a failure, their own party. The implosion in the APC is to be celebrated because a party that has failed the country, the people will not reinforce failure. So all the back and forth the APC governors are having with the APC leadership, Nigerians are enjoying it. And it's a work of God to destroy those who have left Nigerians in oppression, depression, and suppression. The people will not reinforce failure. What do we have today? We have a new deal. We have a man who understands the problems the Nigerian people face. We have a man who understands the solutions, practical solutions to solving these problems. We have a man who has the unprecedented courage to implement these solutions to solve the problems facing the people. A nation can only move forward when they have their politics right. And the first way to having your politics right is to having your democracy or your elections right. When elections are a result of the will of the people, when the elections are seen to project the opinion of the people, then those who are elected will be held to account, and they will understand that they owe the people the duty to serve them and to serve efficiently. In a situation where people buy votes, in a situation where the overall winner of the election is not as a result of the opinion of the people, that person cannot govern. And that is why Nigerians are unanimously excited about this new CBN policy, because it will reduce the capacity for thieves to steal the election this time. What are we coming with? We are coming with a new program for Nigerians. First of all, Nigerians have to be united. That is what Peter Obi is for. A man who will have several candidates insult him, and when you ask him, this man called you this, that man called you stingy, what do you have to say in retaliation? He will tell them and smile. That man is my older brother. I respect him so much. Peter is focused on the people. Government should be centered about the people, and that's what we're coming with. You see, the new CBN cashless policy, people have to understand this. There is no way you would take 2.7 trillion naira out of the economy to reduce availability of cash and put in that same amount of money. That's never happened anywhere in the world. What we're saying is that let us progress. Let's move forward. Let's move in line with other developing economies by using less of cash and doing more transactions. And we're saying that if this has it, like the president said, the president is aware that having less cash would help the elections. And then that's why he keeps saying, let the people vote for whoever you want to. Because the man knows that his party, the APC, is a corrupt set of individuals who prefer to use their monies to buy their wage through. So he knows that the best way, since my government has failed, I want to make sure that the Nigerian people elect their own government that they can trust.
Okay, then, let me just pause you. Let me pause you a moment. Just so we have much time, we'll come back to you. I like to get Barrister Yusufu involved here. Interestingly, all of the major political parties that are at the forefront in this election, someone has described them as birds of the same feathers. I mean, looking at their political antecedents. Why should we expect anything different from any of these candidates, knowing fully well that, in a sense, they all have the same political ancestry? Barrister Yusuf.
Well, thank you so much. I've listened attentively to the other speakers, and I was just smiling in contentment and whatever. People do not really know the background of Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso. At times they say XYZ is the closest to the youth and all that. I just laugh. People fail to realize that Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso was the president of Student Union in Kaduna before he traveled to London for 10 years. Whilst he was in London, he was also the leader of Nigerian students. Yeah. Bubakar Nadima was the president of Student Union in ABU Zaria. I'm the presidential spokesperson, MPP, Presidential Council, and I was the president of my student union. We are very close. When they say close to the youths, at times they tend to confine this to the south. I say we don't have youths in the north. But like my boss, Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, will always say that he wants to be the president of the entire country, not necessarily the president of the north. As we speak, the 19 states in the north, they are locked down for Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso. And one interesting thing, one exciting thing about all these, currency distribution, fuel scarcity and whatever, is that we are very much at home with this suffering that we've been with the people. Although we don't accord any recognition to it necessarily because of the suffering of the people. But what is miffing about this is the sense of entitlement of some of these politicians. Where were they when people were killed at the toll gate? Why did they go to court? Why did they go to court? They spent more than 8 months at home. Why did they go to court when Kanu's detention is still tribal today, despite the fact that the court asked the president to release him? So why are they not going to court because of this currency thing? Sometimes with them, we believe that there should be palliative measure. We should believe that the poor really have their way. But what we detest at the Kwankwasia movement is this sense of entitlement. Sense of entitlement which makes a man believe that it is my turn in Miloko. The sense of entitlement which makes a man will go to the north and say, do not vote for the Yoruba man, or do not vote for the Igbo man. This is not only monkish character. It is an anti-people and anti-democracy. It is only Musa Rabi Kwakwaso that comes across.
Okay.
People say, money for this and that. Musa did not, as we speak, Musa Rabi Kwakwaso, all the funds, those who sustaining children, taking children from the streets in pursuit of education. He's the only man that has program that comes across that is not confined to only Kano State alone.
Okay.
If you have the other
Barrister Abubakar, let me pause you then. I'll be back with you in a moment before we call it a wrap. Let's come back to the studio here where Collins Amadi Osara is standing by. Collins, yes, you've been following the conversation so far.
Very well.
Yes.
Very well.
Yes.
I thank you for calling back even when my phone went off.
Go ahead.
Now, I am happy and at the same time sad that Nigerians sometimes we have short memories. When ASU was on strike, for over the time they were, the only foreseen and seen individual that we saw that took this as a body, including president, opened a negotiation between ASU and the government, stood by the people, was Bola Ahmed Asiwaju Tinubu, met with the student union, appealed to all the parties consistently. Was Tinubu because he's not playing politics because he's not hiding under anybody to become president. He believes he has worked so much and he's still working and he deserves to give us a new page, a renewed hope that we yearn for. Now let's take me further. When the issue of targets that my brother, the Kwakwaso, who is also my friend, PA has talked about, this was this same Asiwaju that some blackmailers within the cabal wanted to blackmail and said he gave order. We didn't give order as the chief commander-in-chief of the armed forces or as the sitting governor. Can any individual give an order to an army? No. There was the evidence to prove that no. This same man came out, addressed the crowd, addressed those who were protesting. He came out. He did not hide. He stood with two of his sons standing by him. We saw all of that on TV. What are we trying to blackmail? This man has never arrested. That is why I also come out. I'm going to appreciate my friend in following. He said, well, he spoke very well and he painted it. And said it is him and few others who want who want to have a good Nigeria. He blackmailed every other party that they have done very badly. But he forgot that his father was a House of Fed member to represent Ego, or who represented Ego, and he moved out under PDP.
Collins, I don't want us to go off track in our conversation. I want us to try as much as possible to stay on course on the subject of our discussion. I don't want us to go personal. Collins, try as much as possible to stay on course, please. Yeah.
Wonderful. We are trying to inform our people so they won't be deformed.
No, when we inform our people, let's not go off track in doing that, please. Yeah.
No, okay, thank you. Thank you. I'm not going off track.
Yeah.
But just to also summarize. Just to summarize on that. He himself contested for House of Rep under PDP. And he just left for Labour Party a few weeks ago. Now, how come Labour Party is not the Alpha and Omega? He talked about their candidates. Yes. He talked about Obi. Obi was a governor. And since Obi started his ambition, I am still yet to find out if Obi has visited NAS, National Youth Council. Which youth body has he gone to meet and kneel down before? Instead, we go to Obasanjo, Danjuma, Abu Salami Abubakar, the same old cargoes, assuming we said that made Nigeria fail. That means some people are trying to use one person as an errand boy. I think Nigerian youth should be conscious, should be guided, should know what we want. With the fear that many of them have about Apollo Ame and Siwaju, they believe when he comes, with his kind of his antecedents, what he stands for, he will put all of them in jail. All those who took Nigeria for granted, including Olusegun Obasanjo.
Okay. All right, Collins, I will pause you here now, and let's see how we can just take one round of questioning before we call it a wrap, and then open our studio line so our callers can also be part of the discussion. Bishop Igbasan, we have this. Okay, let me come to Tony. Sorry, Tony. The feeling is that there are certain cabals who wants to upturn the will of the people in this election, and these are the people who are misadvising Mr. President on this Naira redesign. Yes.
There is nothing like a cabal. The policy of Mr. President and the CBN governor has triggered this redesigning of the Naira. Like I said earlier, is the best thing that has happened to this country at this particular time that we are in now. If you listen to the way the APC spokesperson is putting up his, his presentation, it's all about attack, attack, and attack. I think the president did this to leave a very good legacy of installing a very credible, free and fair.
So why did they have to come up with this policy at the eve of the election?
Because they
after
want to
8 years,
because, if you listen to
7 years down
if you listen to the president during one of their campaigns in Katsina, he asked Nigerians to vote for a credible candidate that they trust and they can believe in. He didn't say vote for the APC candidate. That is a man of integrity. He's trying to make sure that people goes to the poll with their clear conscience, to go there and vote their conscience, not their fear, not how much is going to come into their pocket, being what APC is banking on. Atiku Abubakar, as you all know, is a man that is a great unifier in this country. He's a man that cuts across every spread of every part of this state, of this country. He's a man that has friends across the Niger. Of all the things all the politicians have talked about, including Atiku Abubakar, the reason why I'm supporting Atiku Abubakar is what I'm going to tell the world today. Because he clearly told Nigerians that within the first 6 months of his administration, he's going to do everything for us to restructure this country. All the problems that is bedeviling this country, from the ISU strike, from the kidnapping, from the banditry, from the forest scarcity, from all of them, all boils down to these anomalies in our government. The central government that is so fat, the unitary system that we are preaching, whereas every state is supposed to be a federated state that stands on its own. So I believe Atiku Abubakar that he's going to come and restructure this country and allow the states to fend for themselves with what you have and live with yourself. It will create a competition among states so that states can develop properly. In the situation where, for instance, Edo State generates over 500 megawatts from a whole power plant, but Edo State cannot even use 200 megawatts. Bet you the 500 megawatts is tied to the national grid. People in Zamfara that doesn't even need the electricity after 24 hours. Whereas Edo State could have been able to use their 200 megawatts and sell the balance 300 to Delta, Bayelsa, or Ondo, our neighbors. But this system is not there because we are running a unitary system where everything from every federating unit goes to the center that all these people want to feed on. So when Atiku becomes the president by God's grace by the 26th, 27th of this month, a lot of things are going to change in this country.
let's quickly
it's
take
going to start from that restructuring.
Yeah, let's take a few calls. Our studio line is already up.
And it's going to put APC
it's already up there. 08077770300. If you dial that number right away, you'll be able to talk to us on the program. We just have a very limited time, and let's see how much of the calls we can take. The number is on the screen. Just a moment. 08077770030. That's our studio number. Hello, caller. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on Politics Today. Please go straight to the point. Yes, good morning. Tell us. Yeah.
My name is Friday. I'm calling from Benin.
Okay, Friday, go ahead.
Before I score Mr. President 0/100. By now, I give him 35/100.
No, up it up to 50, please.
35 is not a pass mark.
No, 50.
It's 35 a pass mark.
Before I have 0.
Okay.
100.
Okay.
Now I'm giving 35. Because he has gone through the ranks. You understand
Yes.
what is playing in our politics. And I urge the next president that is coming, he should be changing this money before 4 years before the election. Because we are seeing what is playing in our politics that politicians are coming to him, telling him we are popular in our state. Now new is because of the inducement. They are using money to make themselves.
Okay, so we have another caller on the line. 08077770030. That's the studio number. Hello, caller. Good morning. What's your name? Good morning. What's your name?
My name is Kingsley. I'm calling from Benin.
Yes, Kingsley. Go ahead.
Please, I just want to thank the APC government. They win. Now they do pass. This situation where they put us, I beg me they come up for road. May another party enter because we don't like this situation where they go put us so. But if not PDP, maybe PDP does it better pass this time. I beg.
All right. Thank you for your call. 08077770030. That's our studio number. Dial the number right now and let's get your take. Hello, caller. Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from? Yes, good morning. What's your name? Okay, we'll have a home back there. 08077770030 is our studio number. Our last call on the program today. Good morning, caller. What's your name?
Good one. This is Michael calling from Agbo.
Yes, go ahead, Michael from Agbo.
APC and PDP have failed us completely. We don't want them to come back again. We want a new Nigeria. We don't want them. All their complaints, their social, we don't want them. We want to change our government. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. 08077770030 is our number. If you can dial it right now, right away, we'll take your call and get your contribution. Good morning, caller. What's your name? Good morning. What's your name?
Hello?
Yes, what's your name? Go ahead, please.
My name is Festus, coming from Lagos.
Okay, go ahead, Festus from Lagos. Go ahead.
Yeah. What this man was just saying about the APC just now. APC, they are the one culpable in this country. You just leave us alone and let them go. You don't want them anymore. That's just it.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. We're back to the studio to quickly take 30 seconds from our panelists to wrap up their contributions. Let me get started with Chief Tony Alile Ogiva. Tony, yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Viewers at home, in another 1 week, we'll be going to the poll to elect the next president of this country. I urge you all to vote for PDP. If you all remember, 8 years ago today, bag of rice was selling for 7,000. Today it's going for over 50,000. If you remember, 7 years ago, about 8 years ago, under PDP administration, petrol was selling for 87 naira. Today you can hardly get it for 600.
But you're not telling us how you want to achieve that.
It's a PDP policy, but there is not enough time for me to say that.
Okay, all right. So thank you.
To appeal to the voters that go out there on that day, vote for all PDP candidates, so that
all
we
right.
can return this country.
Barrister Yusuf Abubakar, can you give us your final take on this conversation? Barrister Yusuf,
well,
yes.
Well, I have excited about the callers. They have made my day, and it's clear that the PDP with a broken moral compass and the APC, the damaged brand, it is obvious that it is only the NNPP under my master, Musa Rabi Kwakwaso, that will be able to deliver the goods. It's only more than no baggage. So I call on Nigerians, both home and in diaspora, to rally around Musa Rabi Kwakwaso so that we can deliver this country for the...
All right, thank you, Barrister Abubakar. Ogbedi Falu Isibo, yes, a final take from you.
Thank you, Nigerians. There are 70 million young people under 50 registered to vote. My appeal to you, let's vote for a man who cares about us. Let's vote for a man, Peter Obi, who cares about our future and that of our children. Let's pull in one direction. Let's young people wake up together and take our country, our destiny in our own hands. Let's pull our votes in one direction and elect a man who wants to transform our country. We need a country where we can provide for ourselves, consume what we produce, and produce what we consume. That's the focus of the Peter Obi government.
All right.
Now, time of the times our old friends have told us, it's time for us to take our nation in our own hands and build a Nigeria we'll be proud of that we can be.
I'm sure I'm going to have the same time.
Okay, Collins, yes, you just keyed me on now. Just go ahead and take your 30 seconds to call it a wrap. Yes.
I want to thank many Nigerians who are not played by emotions, because what the Kaaba had wanted was to create an impression that it was a party that was governing. The truth is that when we elect our leaders over the time, they become emperor. They take their decisions to blackmail those they want to blackmail. APC Bola Ahmed Tinubu is not riding on the sentiment of the party, but coming with a renewed hope. You cannot vote for people who took their money to Panama. You cannot vote for people who do not have anything here or who are secessionists, who will create drink and be putting another flag to destroy this country. For the first time, Satana must understand this. These games on Kabas are playing, how hard they can deliver another full animal for you. You must not share your vote. Give your vote to a certain Nigerian that have a structure across the country.
Okay.
And that person is Brother Ahmed.
All right, Bishop Igbasa, quickly.
No
1 second.
man of a woman can stop this thing.
My own take is that any party that brings a northerner now, let people reject them.
You cannot say
because
that.
We cannot be under a northerner for 8 years and repeat again. Yes, sir, you have your flaw.
No,
you cannot disagree with my opinion.
You cannot
disagree with my opinion.
No,
that's my opinion.
No, you can't say that.
You cannot.
I have my own rights.
Tony, hold on. You have delayed this program. Hold on.
I'm a television man. You have to know what is on. I have my opinion. You can't stop me.
Go ahead.
You cannot stop me.
After all, it's not only Atiku Abubakar that is the presidential candidate.
For 8 years, we have a northerner. I want to appeal to Nigeria. It is turn by turn. It is the turn of the southerner. And it is time. All of them, all the 4 persons that are contesting today have used 8 years in power. Let's look at their capacity, look at their antecedents.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Southerner, let us go for southerner.
Bishop, thank you very much. Gentlemen, I want to thank you very specially. From Lagos, Barrister Yusuf Abubakar is the spokesperson for the NNPC presidential candidate. Thank you for joining us, Barrister Abubakar.
Thank you for
And
having
Ogbedi Falu Isibo joined us from Abuja, representing the Labour Party Presidential Campaign Council. Thank you for joining us as well.
Thank you so much. It was an honor.
All right, Bishop Igbasa and Tony Alili, as well as Collis Amadi Osaga. Thank you guys for your time with us on the show. And to all those who tried to call, they couldn't. I mean, the program, it took so much time. But it's okay. We thank you. We'll be back here next week, Saturday. Yeah, it will be Policies Today. But this time, Naira Redesign Studio will take the order of the day. Have a great weekend. Bye for now.